something happened at that race that nobody is talking about. And I mean nobody. Not the analysts, not the broadcast team, not even the drivers who were right there when it unfolded. There's a reason this moment was barely discussed after the checkered flag. And once you understand what actually went down, you're going to see why. Because this wasn't just a bold move, this was a signal. And if you missed it, you missed the moment this entire season changed direction. Kyle Larson did something that should not have worked. Full stop. The conditions weren't right, the timing wasn't right, and every single piece of conventional NASCAR wisdom said don't do it. But he did it anyway. And what happened next left an entire field of professional drivers staring at their steering wheels, trying to process what they'd just witnessed. Let me paint the picture for you because the context here matters more than the move itself. The race had been tight all day. Multiple teams were running clean strategies, fuel windows were locked in, tire management was disciplined. Nobody was panicking, nobody was improvising. It was the kind of race where the driver who stays patient usually wins. That's exactly what made what came next so jarring. With the race hanging in the balance, when every smart voice in every pit box was telling their driver to hold position and wait, Larson did the opposite. He didn't wait. He attacked. And not in a way anyone saw coming. We're talking about a move so outside the expected playbook that the teams watching it unfold in real time didn't even react immediately. There was a beat of silence, a collective moment of disbelief, and then the chaos started. Here's what that silence actually means. In NASCAR, when something routine happens, the radio chatter is constant. Engineers talking, spotters calling, crew chiefs adjusting. But when something genuinely unexpected happens, when something breaks the mental model everyone is operating inside, there's a pause, a half second where the entire sport holds its breath. That pause happened. Multiple teams reported it afterward. And that tells you everything about how unexpected this truly was. But here's where I need you to slow down with me. Because what most people are focusing on is the move itself, the specific moment, the highlight clip. And yes, that moment was extraordinary. But the real story isn't what Larson did. The real story is what it revealed about where his head is right now. Because drivers don't make moves like that on instinct alone. That kind of aggression comes from a place of absolute belief. And when a driver reaches that level of confidence mid-season, with championship points on the line, that is genuinely dangerous for everyone else in that garage. Think about what other drivers are now carrying into every race going forward. They know Larson will go somewhere they won't. They know he'll take a risk that the math says is wrong, and they know it might work again. That psychological weight doesn't disappear after the race ends. It shows up on restarts. It shows up in late race battles. It shows up in the half-second hesitation that costs someone a position. Larson didn't just win a moment. He planted doubt in an entire field. And in a championship fight, doubt is the most dangerous thing in the world. And that's not even the part that should have everyone worried. The part that nobody is talking about is what his team did in response to that move. Because when a driver goes off script like that, the natural reaction from the pit box is to pull them back, get them back on strategy, protect the points. That's the safe play. That's what teams do. But that's not what happened here. His team didn't reel him in, they leaned into it. They adapted to his aggression in real time and found a way to make the rest of the race work around that decision. That level of trust between driver and team is rare, and when you have it, you become almost impossible to manage from the outside. Other teams don't just have to outdrive Larson now, they have to outthink an entire unit operating in complete sync. The fan reaction told its own story. Social media didn't just explode, it fractured. Half the comments were something close to reverence, the kind of reaction you get when someone does something you didn't think was possible. The other half were a different emotion entirely, frustration. Not because the move was dirty, but because it worked. Because when a rival does something impossible and pulls it off perfectly, there's a very specific kind of helplessness that comes with watching it. And that reaction, that split between awe and frustration, that's the reaction of a fan base that just watched a power shift happen in front of them. Let's talk about momentum, because this is where the real stakes live. Momentum in NASCAR isn't a feel-good concept, it's measurable. Drivers who build it make better decisions under pressure. They find lines they wouldn't normally find. They hold on when they should fall back. and their competitors start making small errors, trying to match an energy they can't quite reach. Larson right now has a level of momentum that is genuinely difficult to slow down, and the timing of this specific moment, the point in the season where it landed, could not have been more calculated if someone had scripted it. Which raises a question that I haven't seen anyone ask yet. Was this actually spontaneous? Or was this something Larson and his team had been building toward? Was there a moment in a strategy meeting, in a debrief, in a quiet conversation between driver and crew chief, where someone said, if the moment is right, we take the risk other teams won't? Because if that's the case, this wasn't a split-second decision. This was a prepared ambush, and that changes everything about how you evaluate what just happened. Here's the uncomfortable truth that every championship contender in that garage is sitting with right now. There is no clean answer for how you stop a driver who is this locked in, this aggressive, and backed by a team that will follow him anywhere. You can try to out-strategize him, but his team adjusts. You can try to outdrive him, but his raw speed is nearly impossible to match in critical moments. You can try to wait for him to make a mistake. But a driver operating at this confidence level doesn't make the kind of mistakes you can capitalize on easily. The window to beat Kyle Larson right now is razor thin and getting thinner. But here's the thing about razor-thin windows. Races don't care about momentum narratives. The track doesn't care how confident a driver feels. One bad pit call, one mechanical issue, one caution at the wrong moment, and everything resets. The lead evaporates. The psychological edge disappears, and suddenly the driver who looked unstoppable is just another contender fighting for position. That's NASCAR. That's always been NASCAR. And Larson knows it better than anyone. So the question the entire sport is quietly sitting with right now is not whether that move was incredible. It was. The question is whether this is the moment we look back on as the turn of a championship, or whether it's the moment that set up a fall nobody saw coming. Because in this sport, those two things can be separated by nothing more than a single decision, a single lap, a single heartbeat of timing. The rest of the season just got a lot more interesting, and the drivers chasing Larson know it, which means whatever they do next, they're not just racing for points anymore. They're racing against a moment that already happened, against a move already in everyone's memory, and against a driver who just proved he's willing to go somewhere nobody else will follow. Whether that's a strength or a vulnerability, we're about to find out. Drop your take below because I genuinely want to know whether you think this was the move that wins Larson a championship or the one that eventually costs him everything.